but I ended up getting like an A+ on it, so much so it was so good that my professor ended up saying, "Hey, you should hey, you should publish this." And so I published it. Of course, I edited because the thing about it was published from a place of talking to people of low income. And I was like, if anybody's going to buy it on Amazon, I want it to be accessible, but I also wanted to add more fluff, more information to it that I learned through this program that I had just hosted. And so because of that, that's why when I was a professor, I would tell my students, I'm giving y'all assignments that you can actually take and put on your resume, that you can take and speak at a conference, or you can do a speaking engagement off of this. So you always want to be mindful. Can y'all still hear me? You always want to be mindful of, what you do. Like, I get a lot of questions about college advice. I even just got a question today from a student who hasn't been my student in like about 2 years. It's coming up 2 years. I ain't been a professor. No, it's just coming up a year. June of last year to June of this year. It's been 1 year since I haven't been a professor. But it's funny enough, the last message that I sent her, June of last year, was, I look forward to all your future successes. And if there's any recommendation letters or anything you need that is not related to the university, I'm definitely here to help you. And here it is, a year later, she's messaging me and asking me questions. And so being able to hold that space and be relatable with, the student population, and let them know, hey, I'm here for you beyond just your university experience, even though I have no affiliation with that university anymore. Because a lot of times, yeah, they need those recommendation letters, especially if they're a good student. Like, I'm here for recommendation letters, but I've also had students ask me for recommendation letters and they made a D in my class. I can't give you what am I recommending? Who am I recommending you to? Because all I have to that perceives you, right, is your performance in my course. Now, I always tell my students, or I always would tell my students, if you have another professor that you're doing just because you like me, don't mean I'm going to write you the recommendation letter. If you have a professor's class that you are performing better in, because sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't do too good in her class, but I'm going to take her again. Just because you like me don't mean I'm going to write you a recommendation letter. Because if you got a D in my class, or not even a C in the class, like, there's nothing for me to write a recommendation letter on. But I'll turn around and tell that same student, I ain't going to discourage them, but I'm going to still let you know, hey, is there another course where you had better performance in? You may want to consider asking that professor to write you a recommendation letter. That's typically how that goes. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe my guest was having some technical difficulty. And if she did send me a message, I'm not able to see it. Um, but we'll probably have to reschedule, because what we were going to do was, we're doing STEAM this month. So I took a little time to talk about healthcare as politics, as well as technology and healthcare, and do my little talk as I do, because I like to talk about a lot of things. That's what we do here at Black Girl Say Something, right? But the reality is, my guest was going to be an engineer. So I wanted to highlight Black women in STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. At the end of this month, this month, we will be doing a virtual art fair where I'll show y'all some of my art. Like, I'm looking at it because I had just pulled them out, and I'm gonna go live with someone else who also wants to showcase their art. So maybe we'll have like a little art basil, TikTok art basil. Like, y'all know, anything that I'm doing on here on TikTok might be new to y'all, but these are things that I've done before. So I've hosted a virtual art show, or a virtual sip and paint. Also, I did both of those in COVID. I was doing everything in COVID. Okay. But I did the virtual art show. I did the virtual sip and paint. That was a good time. I used to host virtual workout classes. Like, I used to do all the things. And I used to attend other people's own too. Next week we have a chemist. She was still here in the live. I don't know if she's here, but she can give a shout out so y'all can follow her, because we will be interviewing her next week. I look forward to that. So she will be the science component. I don't have anybody in math, so I made the M medicine. So I did that last week, where I talked to Black Nurses Week about racial disparities in healthcare. They invited me for their virtual monthly meetup. And that's over on YouTube. But if you want to know about any of the talks that we've had, I think she's here. Let's see. Let's see. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
I don't go live a lot, so I'm not totally sure how to turn my camera on.
I just sent you a request to turn it on. I think you can do it from
Okay.
there.
Let me find me an effect. I don't go live without my filters either.
Okay, no problem.
I look halfway presentable. Let me find one that looks nice. What is that? Hold on, I'm messing around over here.
Okay.
Let's see what happened. That looks okay.
So those of you that's just joining, we have our guest, Dr.
Hi.
Gary.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good and yourself. So I'm
Good.
just chitting and chatting because that's what I do over here at Black Girl Say Something.
Yeah.
This will be our formal introduction.
Mhm.
Black Girl Say Something is my podcast where I air an episode every Friday and I talk about a variety of topics, but I'm also a doctor of health science who concentrated in global health. And my
Awesome.
research is maternal child topics and racial disparities,
Mhm.
honestly. And what else? I'm a multi healthcare professional. So I'm also an optician, I'm a phlebotomist, and I have a love for healthcare.
You
I
do what Black women do. We always wear multiple hats. That intersectionality always.
Yeah, and they all come together. If I'm being honest with
Mhm.
you, because I'm also an educator, so I worked for a little bit as a professor, and my time spent as a professor was in this department where I created a new program for this university. But I was in the health and natural science department, and so I was surrounded by chemists, I was surrounded by engineers,
Yeah.
biologists, and then there was me, like the social science, health science person. And so while they were getting to know me, I was getting to know them. But I do love the sciences. And
Absolutely.
I often joke and say to engineers, the ones that get it. Some of them don't, depending on where they're at or what type of engineering they do.
Mhm.
But opticians are probably, when I did opticianry school, that's the closest relation that I have to engineers because we talk about chromatic aberration and geometric optics and things like that. So,
Let me make sure. I heard phlebotomist. I heard optician. I
mm-hmm,
heard professor, and
uh-huh.
I heard you started a program. So the program that you started, what was that in at the
Oh,
university?
that was a bachelor's of science in healthcare administration.
Wow,
And I'm also an
you are
author.
doing it.
So.
You are doing it.
And also an author. So we're gonna hop right into it because I was
Okay.
waiting on you. I wasn't gonna get off because my son, who is 10 years old, I've always been putting that bug in his ear, and we just had the STEM Fest a couple months ago that we attended, and I was like, "You sure you gonna be an engineer?" I'm already, bugging in his ear. So I have a few questions, but I want you to go into your introduction and tell me about you. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, how did I get on mute? Lord have mercy.
No,
I told you I don't go live a lot.
you good. You good
Can you hear
now.
and see me? Okay, I said my mom is staying with me right now, so I do apologize just in case she wanders by. Hey, Dr. Jazz. I'm also sharing the live with some people who follow me because I don't ever go live ever. So they all need to be here because I don't know when I'm going live again. So my name is Carlotta Berry, and I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, which is in Terre Haute, Indiana. I am also a robotics engineer, an author, a science communicator, a mentor, a role model, a noir STEMinist. I do a lot of stuff. But just like my Black Girl Say Something partner here, all my stuff is, hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me, all my stuff is intersectional. My ultimate goal is to diversify STEM and to get more Black and brown people into science, technology, engineering, and math. And I use arts to do that. So I like to say I am a STEMinist and a STEAMinist. A big
Oh,
part of me doing that is writing children's book, is writing Black STEM romance novels, and also writing textbooks about robotics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. I only joined TikTok because when I was trying to get my message out, my motto is my STEM is for the streets. I had parents similar to you who said, I really want to get my kid into STEM. I really want to get them into robotics. I need them to see what you're doing. And I was posting on YouTube and places like that. They were like, you got to get on TikTok.
get on TikTok.
And once I got here, I noticed the traction was way better. Honey, I've been on Instagram for years and I had the same 2,000 followers for a decade. I
Yep.
get on TikTok and I get love for my content. I know I'm putting out a good product. I don't know what they're doing over there on Instagram. Thanks, Jazz. I don't know what they're doing over there, to be honest.
I
So,
don't know.
so that's exactly why I do this. And really, the main stuff I do is promoting engineering content. I actually teach robotics to kids and adults. I teach
Oh,
STEM to kids and adults. I actually taught some kids this morning. I've done Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Boys and Girls Club. I also teach K through 12 teachers. So I will be teaching K through 12 teachers next week how to do robotics and teach it to kids And then the week after that, I'm teaching engineering professors. Robotics and STEM for the streets means I teach anybody who wants to learn it.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think a big part of that is AI right now because everybody's scared to death of AI. So teaching people what AI is and is not, and it can be biased and it can be messed up, but you got to know something if you're going to address it.
Okay. I did forget to mention, you said robotics. I taught robotics for about a year to
Yay!
fifth graders. Because I do love to teach. So I was teaching them, I guess I would be what you said, a STEAMinist.
Yes,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I taught art history to third graders, robotics. I taught them underwater science, and there was a class that these people made up, this organization that I was contracting my services to. But the course was
Hmm.
called survival science. So I was teaching them like camping skills and how to read a compass and the science of camping and all of that good
I
stuff.
love it. In fact, I was a co-leader for Girl Scouts for several years, two different Girl Scout troops, and orienteering. I didn't even know what it meant. I was like, I don't know what no orienteering. They were like basically figuring out how to navigate around the woods. I was like, okay, well, I
That's
don't
what I
think
was
messing
teaching
around
them.
in the woods.
It was like
Right.
what was it? And they called it survival science. Meanwhile, I'm teaching them how
Right.
to put up a tent and all different type of stuff. So I
I
was
like to tell people I'm a textbook black person. I don't swim and I don't mess around in no woods, glamping or otherwise. Don't put me in no doggone woods.
don't put me in the woods, and that was funny because it was like me and these kids, and I was just like, hey y'all, and they was telling me more about the camping than I could tell them. So
Yeah.
we definitely worked it out. But I got a question for you. So what inspired you to pursue a career in engineering?
I was in high school and I was really good at math and science, and I was planning on being a high school math teacher. And I was in a program called Inroads, and they had shared that with my skill sets, I should really consider engineering. This is before internet really was a thing, didn't have a cell phone, nothing like that. And what they had said to me was really consider engineering. They know no black people in engineering.
Mhm.
I looked at it, I was like, kind of looks okay. So I have a bachelor's degree in math from Spelman, and then I have an engineering degree from Georgia Tech because I just wasn't absolutely sure the engineering thing was going to work out. And so I wanted to have the math degree as a fallback and I could get the education degree later. Like the engineering, hated the way engineering is taught. It's a majority white male profession, even to this day. Black people, black women in the field still have a lot of the same negative experiences. So at that point, I decided to intersect my love of teaching and engineering and become an engineering professor. I did work as an engineer for about 5 years or so, and I also interned as an engineer before going back to get my PhD to become a professor. But engineering is just taught in a very stale and boring way. So if it's just not something you like, they sure don't make it exciting for you.
Yeah.
Robotics was a big way that I connected with engineering. So that's how I decided to do that. But most importantly is getting people to understand they can be an engineer. Engineers do look like them. Hashtag I look like an engineer. And getting especially young people and kids to see that. Because even to this day, sadly, I do a lot of robotics and workshops and I open them to anyone. It's very rarely to see black kids.
Okay.
Engineering has a marketing problem. And I hate to say it, but a lot of, unless they have parents like you who are encouraging the kiddos to come, they are more apt to go to like a sports camp or a gaming camp or esports, something like that. And they need to see more people that look like them doing these things so that they know that they can.
Okay. Do you host any workshops that are virtual? Because we're in South Florida.
I 100% do. Black in Robotics has a whole series going right now. Some of them are good for kiddos. Some of them are probably a little bit more advanced, but I am actually putting the link in the chat. I have been advertising it on my social media all summer.
Look, I'm
The workshop,
screenshotting the page right now. We getting
the
this
first,
on.
yeah, the first workshop actually starts this Saturday. I don't host all of them. The Black in Robotics community is pretty large. Some of them are hosted by grad students. Some of them are hosted by professors. Some of them are hosted by practitioners. How old is your kiddo?
10.
I would do either Arduino or if there's a microbit workshop, I also do them through my personal business. So if
Okay.
you ever get a group of friends or if your kiddos in Boy Scouts or anything like that and you want me to do one, I can quote you a price to do that as well. But right now there's workshops happening all summer. Make sure you check some of the lower ones, like Introduction to Python, Microbit,
Mm.
Circuit Playground Express. All of those would be great for kids between like third to fifth or sixth grade. Python, Arduino. I'm putting some of this stuff in the chat because I know some of these words probably
Top
sound.
notch eyewear commenting. That's actually my son. He's on the business phone.
Hey,
He just
bud.
commented, I want to learn. So shout out to LJ.
Hey, LJ. Tinkercad, LJ. Tinkercad is free. Go to Tinkercad website is free.
Got the
Another
page, L.
another free website for LJ is code.org.
Oh yeah, we're
I
on that one.
I do this all the time. So I got all kinds of stuff for LJ. Another one, LJ, is makecode.adafruit.com.
He's like, yeah.
And there's one more. I'm trying to do it from memory though. Oh, yeah, I've been doing public library events all day, so I'm a little
Oh, I understand.
sorry, fried in the brain right now.
So what inspired me to even host this type of live, because I've been going live since January, where I was teaching every Thursday racial disparities in healthcare. I did that for 12 weeks.
Yay! Through Hillman Talk too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started shadow banning us because I was getting so much engagement, and then as it went on and on, I was like, every time I put Hillman Talk in the hashtags,
It
my
started to
views
slow
were
down.
dropping. So I took Hillman Talk out of the hashtags. Like
Yeah.
my numbers went back up. I was like, they think they
I think
slick.
you said your thing is hashtag I look like an engineer. I think that's an amazing hashtag. I'm gonna go check that out.
That one actually used to be really hot back in the day. I don't use it anymore. Yeah. These
Okay.
TikTok folks is messy. But the thing about it though is they don't know we will not be deterred, baby.
No,
We,
and so
we
I
gonna make
went
it
live for
happen.
12 weeks every Thursday at 6 p.m. teaching racial disparities in
Hmm.
healthcare. And then after that, I did Mental Health Awareness Month, which was May. So I went live with a therapist. I went live with women who wanted to talk about their mental health journey. And
Hmm.
so because this month, like I said, I'm a teacher. My daughter does volunteer at our local library, and
Hmm.
they're hosting a STEAM in literacy event, and
I love it.
they're
I
doing
love
art.
it.
And so I'm an artist, as my son said. He said, my mom's very artsy. And so what he decided was that I need to be a part of their event. So the coordinator ended up meeting with me, and I was like, you know what? I want to bring STEAM to TikTok. So
Yes,
I was
absolutely.
like, yeah, let me meet. So last week I spoke with Black Nurses Week. I haven't met anybody in math. I wanted to do women because I'm all about the women. So I had,
There is a black woman mathematician on Steam Talk. Do you have Steam Talk at the top of your
yes,
the
I
Steam
do.
Stem feed?
I'll
If
reach
you
out
go
to
in
her.
there, just scroll through all the videos because most of them are stale and boring. But
Okay.
there's a black woman with locks. I don't remember her name, but if you scroll enough, she'll eventually come up. I would do her. She's got a pretty good amount of followers too.
Okay. Because there's one that she's a third grade math teacher, and I actually had used some of her stuff to help my daughter. So I was like, I
Mhm.
reached out to her, but I hadn't heard anything back. But last week I made the M medicine, and I was like, okay, I did Black Nurses Week. They invited me to do their virtual meetup and speak. Then I got you, and I have a chemist next week, and
Oh
then
yeah,
the week
there's a couple of
after,
chemists on here, black women too. There's two I've seen.
yes, and then
Um,
I'm going to host a art show here on TikTok. He's like, yes, my mom is true. She paint real.
Aw,
Yeah,
thank
so I'm
you. So
going to host
sweet.
a virtual art show because there's a lady. She's like, "Do anybody want to barter art?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do that on live. That'd be really cool because that's the type of stuff I used to do."
You are so creative. And see, I'm over here barely going live, and you over here just making it happen.
Well, you know what? My creativity skyrocketed during COVID. I was hosting Zumba classes. I was doing all type of stuff. So
Yep.
you really
That's
hit
when
it
I
on.
started my business during COVID. I also co-started the two nonprofits, Black in Robotics and Black in Engineering, during COVID as well. And I really honestly only started my business because we were all on social media all the time and I was posting content all the time because, bored sitting at home. And I started getting a lot of people asking me to speak. And I was just kind of like, I can't keep speaking for free. So a big
Hello.
part of that became for me, I got to monetize this because I can't give it all away. I mean, I give a lot away, but people
Right.
feel like when your mission is to diversify STEM and connect with people and market, then it becomes I'm black, we people, let it
Yeah,
be
let's
free,
do it
baby.
together. No, that's
Just
not.
because I got intellectual property and I got an education, everything I do can't be free. There was a young lady who posted on TikTok and I had to stitch her that she talked about the thing she didn't like about the Hillman Talk craze is some of the professors were immediately directing you off of TikTok to their paywall or to their pay site. And I was like, okay, I understand that we are a community, but you got to understand somebody who spent 24 years getting their education
Mhm.
and they may even still have student loans, you cannot expect them to give it all away because these are their time, talent, and treasures. So
Yep.
you can't expect them to give that all to you
Yep.
when they had to invest in that. I like to say your education is an investment in yourself. And if I give some of that to you, that's a blessing for you, but don't try to take it all.
Reinvent. One of my students is on here, Miss Layla Bullock. They know I gave the class 12 weeks of free. And, honestly, the 12 weeks
Yep.
of free, that was a lot of time, effort, and knowledge, right?
Yep.
And all I was saying at the beginning was just purchase my book. Nevertheless, she breastfed despite racial and cultural disparity. Just purchase my book. And she said,
Some
yes,
people don't
it
want to give
was.
you
And it
that.
was
They
great
don't want to give you
information.
nothing. Just
And
give it all away. Give it to them.
and so,
Right.
I had a good portion of people that ended up purchasing. I created from that
Oh,
because
good.
I'm a business owner. So some people purchased the professional development certificate, and I was like, honestly, if anybody want to know what you've done, they can just Google me because like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been doing
I
it.
mean, we're not clowns. It's kind of like just because we're on social media posting content doesn't mean because you could make a Wikipedia page. You can put anything on YouTube, but they can Google me, boo. I just told somebody that the other day. My credentials are available.
They did. Google me.
Right,
I've been doing this before LinkedIn.
right.
My next question for you is one that my son asked me. He was like, "What skills do you think are most important to become an engineer?"
So I told the kiddos this morning: being creative, being innovative, being curious, being a problem solver. So one thing I tell parents is you don't have to buy a bunch of expensive kits and robots and all of that. Have your kid just like when we were little, I used to make, doll heads out of mops, right? Have them take a pen apart and you hand it to them and say, figure out how to put it back together. So anything where they're creating, making something for nothing, walking around the house, walking around the neighborhood going, I could come up with a better idea for that. So creative toys, tinker toys, Legos, building blocks.
In the Home Depot workshops, they're free workshops.
Yes, absolutely. My daughter's grandfather used to take her and her cousin to those.
Yeah,
absolutely. Anything where you're making something for nothing, using the product of your hands to see what you can create, and you have the skill sets. Next week, I think I told you I'm doing a K through 12 workshop. I'm going to teach the teachers how to make robots out of cardboard. Somewhere on my page, I posted some videos of my cardboard robot. So you don't have to have all this stuff. So you got some paper around your house, buy a couple of items from Amazon, or I know we boycotting that one, whoever your favorite electronics online store is. And
so bring back Radio Shack. Okay.
Oh, I loved Radio Shack. I loved Radio Shack. There is a new one now, and just because you mentioned Radio Shack, I'm not going to think of the name of it. A lot of cities now have it. It's not as popular as Radio Shack, but it's one big store that has electronics in it. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. It'll come to me later. But that's another place. But I go to any website that can give me some free shipping and give it to me quickly. Because the thing is, I'm building robots and I'm selling robots.
Thomas said Micro Center. Is that it?
Yes, Micro Center. Thank you, Jazz. I can never think of the name of that place. So Jazz is actually in Black in Robotics with me. And Jazz also has a PhD in robotics. Obviously, you could tell from her name. But yes, it's Micro Center. I can never think of the name of it. But yeah.
And then another question: is there any project right now that you are proud of? It sounds like you're proud of all of them, but anything in particular?
My 3D printed robots, I think absolutely. I just shipped one to Jazz recently, so we're gonna go back live at some point, and I'm gonna go live while she builds the robot. But the reason I'm proud of it is because just by posting these online, I've gotten kids to build them. I've gotten teachers to download the designs and do it in their classroom. There's a teacher in Detroit that did that. So, because the benefit of open source hardware and open source software, my stuff's not proprietary. I will sell you one if you want me to, but I will give you all the design files and you can make your own. And the benefit in doing that is you can modify it, you can change it and all of that. So that's absolutely what I'm the most proud of, because anybody can use it. And so that means, if engineering has an inclusion and access problem, then you take away that wall. That's how you get more Black and brown kids and girls into STEM and engineering.
And you gave a whole bunch of websites, because this is going to get downloaded, put on my YouTube. Once it's on YouTube, I'll send you the link.
Absolutely, and I will market it for you, hook you up.
Yes. Are there any particular websites that you have that you want to promote? Because they're gonna want to know.
It's my personal website, noirstemminist.com. I will put that one in the chat for you. That is a trademark name that I made up. So a lot of people do not know how to spell it. Noir STEMinist is a integration of Black and STEM, which means I am a Black woman who promotes STEM. And I also promote getting more Black and brown and kids into STEM. So that's why it's Noir STEMinist. STEMinist, I could not trademark because everybody and their mama uses STEMinist. So that is in the chat for you. There is a shop on there. There's robots on there. My children's books are on there. And I do also write STEM romance novels for High School Plus. I say High School Plus because they're not, rooted to the tutor romance. They are pretty clean.
I'm going to check that out, because I've been saying I want to read more for leisure. I feel like all I do is read for work. So, like my kids, we frequent the library so often. So I'm reading a book. I'm looking at it right here. It's The Notorious Virtue, and it says young adult on it. I was like, I just want to read for fun.
It's hard, but you have to. I live an hour from work.
All I read is for work and research and creating curriculum and taking meetings. I just want to read. So I'm like, yeah, it's the summer. I'm reading more for fun.
Most
Um,
of my reading for pleasure is done with Audible when
okay.
I'm driving to work because I have an hour commute, and then every now and then I'll get on Kindle. Physical books, that's a waste of money for me. It has to either be a Kindle or an Audible, something I can come back to later. But
Even my
I,
Audible is full of like self-help books. So I'm like, yeah, I'm getting away from that. I'm pulling books from the library and I want paper. I don't know, I like to feel the paper, see the paper, but I want to read for fun. So that's one of
absolutely.
my summer bucket list goals. Because that's what me and the kids have going on. And
Mhm.
then what do you enjoy most about working as an engineer?
Creating. You never let go. Like I talked about your kiddo being creative. I love building things, putting things together, taking things apart, seeing what my mind can create and seeing it come to life. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Always.
Well, I thank you for joining me
Thank you for
and
having
in
me.
our episode of Talk About It Steam with the. I want to just call you Noir Steminist because I just
You
love how
can. It's on my shirt.
I just
You
love how that
absolutely
rolls off
can.
my tongue with Dr.
You
Barry, the
absolutely
Noir
can.
Steminist. It's like that's so fancy.
So fancy.
It's so fancy.
It's
I
French
love
and
it.
hood.
Huh?
That's just a combination of French and hood.
I know.
I'm just making something up.
Noir Feminist. I love it. I love it so much. Anywho, so thank you for joining
Thank you for
me.
having me.
All of the links, be sure to text them to me or message them to me so I can add them
I
to
will
this
send them to you right now and
episode.
share
And
them with your
I also
kiddo.
have to subscribe to your YouTube because I'm now learning that I can tag people in the YouTube videos when I post them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you
and then that way I'll get the alert. Okay. As soon as we get off, I'm going to go in your DM and I'll put all those links in there for you.
all right. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to all of the things you have going on, and we will be collaborating soon. You'll see me
Let
around.
me know. I absolutely will. Have a
Yes.
great day. Bye bye.
Take care.